So 21 and 22 asks us to turn right side out. And how we do that is we find that hole in the bottom of the lining. And we are just gonna gently and carefully feed the whole bag through that to turn it out.
I feel like this is the step where my patience would be tested a little bit, but you're doing it. It's coming not too badly.
You just kind of roll it up as you go, little bits at a time.
That makes sense.
The worst thing that you can happen is you rip a little part of the seam, which is fine because we're sewing it closed later anyway.
Yeah.
All right. So, before we put it in the inside, it wants us to sew this fold closed. And the way we do that is two ways. You're going to take it to your ironing board, and if you got the raw edges out like this, you're going to tuck them under and make it look like the seam had been sewn the whole way. Wow. So again, like if it came out like this, you're going to fold this in and press. A very nice way of finishing this off is called a blind stitch or a slip stitch. You can look up videos how to do that, and it's a hand stitch. If you do that by hand, definitely upload that to standard for edge finishing, because that's an advanced
That's some
one.
Exceed stuff right there. All you high flyers.
But if you're at the 11th hour and you just want to get this done, how are you going to do this?
I'm the regular guy. I would just say, just let me do
I
it
am
the way
going to
that
do this in red, but I'm going to hate myself for it, and I'm actually going to come back and rip it out and put it back in white, but I want you to be able to see it.
It's inside the bag.
I hate it.
Okay.
So figure out what is before this fold and after, and I'm going to mark that because you want to start at least a half an inch before and finish at least a half an inch after.
And this is the bottom of your lining, so...
Yes. And then you're going to stitch near to that folded edge. So I'm just going to make it a little less than my edge of my presser foot. No matter how you did it, this is still something to upload to Edge Finish. It's just if you do a blind stitch, it's one.
You should make note of that in your reflection.
Didn't teach ya.
For show.
So come through here and just check that the raw edge is caught in there, that nothing's folded up.
Otherwise you will wind up with random items slipping through your liner.
True.
And getting lost in the in-between, which is not as scary as the upside down.
That's exactly what I thought when you said that.
You're still never going to find it, though.
Okay. Now you're going to shove your lining in. Last step is we are going to top stitch around here. And the reason we do that is because otherwise our lining's going to always want to pop out on us. So, it's really easy because I have a zipper in here and can pull between the two. If you don't, you just have to work at this top edge until that fold, the seam is right on the edge, nice and crisp. But we're going to start and we're going to go around the bag one more time. Almost done. Feel it?
Is it time for the final countdown?
It is the final countdown. Okay. Not gonna say this one's for all the marbles, but it is nice top stitching. What I just did there is I turned up my stitch length for top stitching because sometimes it just looks a little nicer if it's
So what number are you on?
I'm on 3.
What advice, sorry, before you get going, what advice do you have for the people who are sewing on a table machine and don't have the little dilly that popped out? To make it easier to sew the circle.
They're gonna have to put it up around this way.
Okay. It's gonna be in there.
Otherwise, this bag is
kind
honestly
of, right?
big enough that you can kind of like stand it up.
Okay.
Here and like you could go around.
Gotcha.
I am stitching the edge of the presser foot away from my, what would be my folded edge, but right now is my zipper extension. Other thing as I'm going along is I'm feeling with my fingers that this lining is pressed down and back, because you don't want it covering up. Again, always feeling that your lining is pushed down and in. A lot of sewing in the circle and sewing garments is really just figuring out how to smooth the little section that's next in front of you, stitch it, stop, and readjust. Around to where we started. Yay! All right.
Wow.
Wow. Trim your threads. Hopefully you've been uploading to your standards as you've gone through this project now too. But take a picture of your bag. I'd like to see both sides of it, and I'd like to see the interior too.
What a beautiful
It's
bag.
nice, it's big. Mine has a zipper, which I like.
I can't believe that used to just be fabric on a bolt.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
A big old bag.
Through the magic of sewing.
Giving this for my daughter. We're gonna pack her stuff.
Yeah.
So, congratulations, you made it!
Woo!
Yay!
That's the face of genuine enthusiasm. Hopefully you feel the same way.